Brought to you by Penguin.
Home Matters, written and read by me, Penny Wincer. Introduction: Why thinking deeply about our homes matters. I have lived in all sorts of homes, from the detached Australian houses of my early years to New York City apartments, ex-council flat shares, unconverted warehouses, and now a 1930s terrace in South London. There is nothing particularly exceptional about the number or variety of homes I have lived in, but I have also seen the inside of more homes than I could possibly count. During the first 6 years of my career, I was an assistant to fashion photographers in London and New York, where I shot in an endless parade of exceptional homes, which provided a setting for magazine covers, advertising, and catalogues, from large, empty white Victorian mansions to quirky, trinket-filled villas in Sicily. And then I spent 15 years as an interiors photographer shooting for magazines and commercial clients. Contrary to what many might assume, my favourite of the homes I spent time in were never the largest, the most expensive, or the most luxurious. These kinds of homes were often very dull, and luckily for me, I was barely ever hired for that kind of shoot. Bland and expensive, designed by a professional and not the owner, those houses always felt like a backdrop to me. A stage set in which lives played out as a performance. Homes tell stories. A home is the culmination of those who create them, where a person's history and present blur together. As a photographer, I'm invited into spaces that very few people outside of immediate family are allowed to enter. When I'm telling the story of a home, I am making choices about how this home will be seen by others. I may leave out some of the more intimate aspects of a person's home, the cupboard where things are hurriedly shoved out of the way, the office door pulled shut, the beloved armchair inherited from a grandparent, which sits in an unexceptional corner that doesn't make the cut. But I see it all, even if the viewer does not, and there is no bigger privilege than being allowed to spend time digging around other people's homes. I was not initially interested in shooting homes. When one of the fashion photographers I worked for first suggested I shoot interiors, I scoffed at the idea. I was spending my time flying back and forth to New York, working for photographers shooting for British Vogue, Burberry, L'Oreal, and Ralph Lauren. In the masculine world of fashion, where male photographers still dominated, I saw interiors as domestic, feminine, and less prestigious, an internalized misogyny which meant I saw it as somehow less than. As a female assistant, I spent my time trying to downplay those aspects of myself. It was not that many years since hiring a female assistant would have been unheard of, and I was acutely aware of that, even if no one said it out loud. But when I was asked to do a couple of small interiors jobs as a favour, I very quickly fell in love with shooting homes. I realised that telling the story of homes was like telling the stories of our lives, that my long obsession with films that exploited interior settings such as Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window and Wong Kar-wai's In the Mood for Love was partly because of the intimacy of those spaces that are usually hidden behind closed doors. My favourite novels too were often based around homes. Every one of Jane Austen's heroines is either struggling to gain or hold on to a home. Elizabeth Bennet and her sisters will be turfed out of their home the moment their father dies. Anne Elliot finds herself homeless and drifting between her father's rented house in Bath and her sister's marital home, not really belonging anywhere. And Eleanor and Marion Dashwood are relegated to a small country cottage far from the grand house they were raised in because their elder half-brother doesn't imagine it matters to them at all. Arguably, and I think many academics would agree, some of the greatest novels written in the English language focus on domestic lives. Despite this, I have found over the years that thinking about our homes and considering them in detail is often viewed as shallow and frivolous, unless it's specifically to improve their monetary value. While housing and access to it are considered important, though much neglected political topics, the aesthetics of our home is not. It's considered a subject for the privileged middle classes, those who don't have to concern themselves with basic human dignities, such as having a roof above their heads and a warm, dry, safe place to live. But the aesthetics of our home, how we shape and decorate them, do matter, regardless of our financial and social circumstances. Even though some might not be particularly conscious of it, and perhaps not even that interested in it, that does not mean we are unaffected by it. Whether we are renters, homeowners, social tenants, or in temporary housing, each one of us is altered by the environment that surrounds us. Our homes shape us. They support us when the outside world might be challenging and hostile to be in. I would argue, in fact.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?